What's going on, pre-Chiro students? This is Dr. Ben with another episode of the Pre-Chiro podcast, just aiming to contextualize this path to become a chiropractor by just having conversations with chiropractors. So today we have the honor of connecting with the president of Life West, Dr. Ron Oberstein. Dr. Ron, thank you so much for taking some time to share with any prospective students out there that are considering this path and just to shine a light on what it's been like for you. Can we get started by you introducing yourself and sharing what your upbringing was like and how you discovered chiropractic and decided to become one?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've been under chiropractic care for many years. So we're going back into the 60s, and originally from a sports injury that I had when I was in junior high school. I think they're called middle schools these days, but when I went to school, it was a junior high school, and the chiropractor was about a mile from my house, or about a half a mile. So I went through care, did phenomenal, and I don't know, man. There was just something that just hit me. You know, my care was supposedly over, and I just felt unbelievable. Forget about the injury, but I felt unbelievable. Let me tip my phone up. I felt unbelievable. And what ended up happening was I just realized that I said to my mom, I was like, 13 years old. I said, Mom, I want to keep going. Can I go once a week? And she said, yeah, sure. Why not? So once a week, every Wednesday, I just got off the bus and I walked home that half a mile, 3/4 of a mile, whatever it was. And I got checked. And, but the interesting thing, Ben, with Doc, was that my chiropractor never told me about chiropractic as a profession, right? Mm-hmm. But here I go, I'm playing basketball, I'm playing overseas in Europe, in a professional league over there. I get hurt. I rip up my ankle. I go over to Israel to hang out, see if I can heal it for 6 months or so. And it just got worse and worse. They wanted to do surgery on it. So I flew back to the States, and I'm on my mom's couch at the time, because at my generation, when you left the house, your room became a storage room, whatever, and totally gone. So I was on my mom's couch, and I get a phone call from one of my buddies, my high school buddies' older brother, who I knew. His name was Mark Schechter, and is Mark Schechter. And Mark called me up and said, "What are you doing, man?" I said, "I'm just hanging on my mom's couch, waiting to go see some orthopedic surgeons. Just got in town 3 days ago." He said, "Well, can I come over?" I said, "Yeah." He came over. He was a second quarter chiropractic student, and he came over and he just told me the chiropractic story and just said, "Man, it's not just about getting sick people well. It's about optimal potential. It's about having your nervous system function to the best of its ability, so that you function, immunity, all these things, and I was going, oh my God. And when I was in Europe, I was thinking about being a social worker. I knew I wanted to work with people and be of service. And he just put these words into this tune I had in my head, and he leaves. And I went to the library the next day, one book on chiropractic back then, and just decided this is what I want to do. And I literally went on the path to be a chiropractor. My second brother, I'm the third of three, he decided he wanted to be a chiropractor, so we explored schools together and became a chiropractor, man. It was very innately driven. It was like I was called to it. Mm-hmm. But it was just really probably I've made a few good decisions in my life, and probably the best one was my wife, and the second one was chiropractic. I absolutely, it's just been amazing. And as you know, you went to school with some of my kids. My wife's a chiropractor. My 3 daughters are chiropractors. My second brother, became a chiropractor. Then my oldest brother saw what we were doing. He ended up going to chiropractic school, so he's now a chiropractor. And and then in the family, I think we got close to 9 chiropractors. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. I definitely want to hear about what it was like to be in practice, but can we get started by you reflecting back on what that student experience was like in chiropractic education back then, and you having your finger on the pulse today? Talk about how it's shifted, how it's changed, what it's like, what's going on today.
Yeah. Well, if we go back 43 years ago, I'm in my 40th year right now of being a chiropractor. So if I go back 44 years ago when I started, it was really amazing. And I had the opportunity to sample different schools. I started at a school on the West Coast that just philosophically wasn't right for me, but I didn't know the difference. When I went to that library, I opened up a book, and I said, oh my God, I've always wanted to go to the West Coast. Coming from Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
out west is what we call it, right? And it's always back east. So I just wanted to go out west, and I ended up going to the Pacific Northwest. It wasn't the right school for me, so I ended up at finally making my way down to Life College in Atlanta, Georgia, because Life West wasn't even in existence back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was able to see kind of both sides of the spectrum, you know. And when I got to Life, I just knew it was the right place for me, philosophically, energetically. I mean, people were just excited about health and, you know, walking around, eating healthy, and just, you know, and it was all about just expressing, you know, potential and correcting nerve interference, which is what we do, right? You know, and everything on the pulse of the nervous system. And it was amazing. So when I went through school, there were challenges. It was tough. It was like anywhere else that you go, you know, but we were definitely prepared to practice. Our clinical experience was much earlier than when I got to Life West, where it was when I got here. And in those days, it was a 12-quarter program. That was it. Nowadays, it's a 14-quarter program. You know, our school, you can accelerate into 12, but you have to have a certain grade point average to do that. But them, it was just only 12, so they had to make sure you got your clinical experience. In the school that I went to, with Dr. Sid Williams, he wanted to make sure that people really understood the being practice ready, right? And translating that over here, we've done a complete rehaul of how we deliver our curriculum. Our curriculum was fine, but how we deliver it. So right now, we've got, you know, first quarter students who shadow up in the clinic, and then second quarter students, they're in what's called our clinically inspired learning program, and they have these clinically inspired learning classes. Their first 4 quarters, where they're shadowing interns, they're doing reflection, they have subluxation analysis courses, this kind of stuff, but they're actually getting the clinical experience. And then in fifth quarter, they go into what's called clinical learning lab, and they're already working on reciprocal patients. They're in outpatient clinic now a year earlier than they were before. And so their clinic experience is now pretty much 2 years, and we're getting them out on preceptors at the end of their program. So they're not even here, and they are just getting this clinical experience that's just deep, you know, and that's what we're about. You know, that's what I'm about. Because Ben, I stepped into this role, you know, and I'm very thankful that I did, but I stepped into it because I just wanted to make a bigger difference in chiropractic, you know, and I don't come from an educational background. I come from a clinically, you know, practicing, you know, background. And I just, and I know my wife and I have sent, you know, over 300 students to chiropractic school throughout our 40 years, but we also took on associates, and we did these boot camp programs where you can come in for a year, and we pretty much seeded about 13 to 14 practices in San Diego where we practiced. And I just know what it takes to be successful out there, you know, at least, you know, my level, you know, to be able to make it. So I tried to bring that to the college, and we've been doing a really good job of really working on having our students be practice ready, be just so confident and competent about what they're doing. And part of that lends to our service trips we do. You know about those. You know, we go to India twice a year. We're in Tonga 3 times a year. We were just about to start Panama 3 times a year in last March. And of course, you know, the world kind of shut down, but that'll start back up. And, you know, the next place I'm possibly looking at, you're the first person I've told this to on a live camera, but we're looking at possibly Cuba. We just have to see what the possibilities are, but we want to go to places. Life West does go to places where there's not chiropractic. And not only do we go there and just go there 3-4 times a year, but we're also going to be starting clinics there. So we have a clinic already established in India, New Delhi, India. We were just about to work with the Ministry of Health to start a clinic in Tonga, because we've been going there for a couple of years doing service trips. And then Panama, one of our employees is very tied into the government in Panama, and they're very excited. I'm supposed to go meet the First Lady and the Minister of Health. And we want to, once we're there, everything's good. We'll start a clinic there, and our students can go to these clinics and be able to, you know, fulfill their last quarter, 2 quarters, whatever it is, you know, experience, and be able to do that there while they do online courses. So, you know, this is what we're building right now, right, to get them moving so that they have that practical clinical experience. They're really, the competence and confidence is high.
And that's really exciting. Thank you for sharing everything that's happening today, right now with Life West. It's super relevant because if I'm a student, I want to know what's happening now, not back then. Can you talk about the brand that Life West has created for themselves in the arena of chiropractic education, and how you really have differentiated the way that you deliver chiropractic to the students there?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, pretty much what I told you, when I went through school, possibly when you went through school, right? It was a science track as you go through your first year, your second year, you're getting clinical things, but your third year and then your fourth year is your clinical track, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you experience that or
Yes,
not. That's
definitely.
kind of the clinic track. So if you saw the river, it's kind of like science, 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 and then you're being supported by the clinical, right? Well, we want to kind of reverse that. Science is super important, right? And we want to reverse that. We want to have the track be more clinically oriented, mm-hmm. and the academic supporting the clinical, right? Mm-hmm. And so that, because 99.9% of us, as we graduate chiropractic school, we're going to go out and practice. Mm-hmm. Hopefully some do research. That's awesome. Hopefully some stay and teach. Mm-hmm. Awesome. But that's what we're looking to do. And so we're kind of turning it inside out. Mm-hmm. How that education is being delivered, because most schools are still doing that, that academic track with the clinical supporting it. And so we reverse that. And that's probably the brand, if you were to say, that we're about, on the educational level, right?
Absolutely.
But we are very strong. And the three-legged stool in chiropractic, your science, your philosophy, and your art, which is your technique, right? Well, we're very strong. Our sciences, you went through school and you know what we do in our sciences here. The great sciences, our technique is really just, is great. We give a lot of techniques, so people are exposed to a lot of different techniques, right? Mm-hmm. And then of course, that's our art, right? And, our philosophy is top notch. I brought in a new philosophy chair 3 years ago, and we've really embedded philosophy into our program very strongly. And the philosophy for those pre-chiro students is your why. It's the why we do what we do. And if anyone can, become a chiropractor or become whatever you want to do in life, but if you don't wake up with that, this is why I want to wake up this morning, to go and serve my people because of the greater good that I'm doing for the planet. You get that why, you never work a day in your life. Mm-hmm. It's our mission. It's our passion to be called to that. So we're very strong with that, and making sure that there's a good balance there. And now we put together a business institute, and that's just being unrolled. And so now we're going to have business. Because one of the things that we saw in our surveys was that, students just don't get enough business. Like, how do I do this and how do I do that? So, being a professional school and having 4,400 hours to teach, mm-hmm. over a 4-year track or a 3.5-year track, it's a lot of hours. So and that's mandated stuff. So we've got to start incorporating the business into places and having that. We'll be doing weekend seminars for students that are free for them. And we'll be doing things in classrooms, and just really kind of, they just proposed it to me. They've been working on it. We've been working on it for the last, I want to say about 18 months. And they just brought it to me 4 weeks ago. And it looks beautiful. And we're meeting again in another 3 weeks. And then it's going to start to be rolled out. It already is being rolled out. And then we'll embed it. So it's really cool.
Awesome. Sounds great. Life West was a place that I also transferred to, like you. You went to Life, I went to Life West. But the reason I'm doing this project is because I saw how diverse the experiences can be depending on which school you choose. And I was really taken aback by how different the experience was at Life West from the school I transferred to from up north, and just want more access, equal access for incoming students to know what they're missing out on or what they could be exposing themselves to. Depending on which school they go to, they're going to get completely different exposures. So it sounds like you guys have really put the experience of chiropractic first, and getting people in the clinic, getting people experiencing chiropractic is the thing that clarifies what chiropractic is all about for people, I think, the most. Can you reflect really quickly on your 40 years in practice and what it was like to serve in your clinic, maybe what your big why was, and how you operated, just to give some insights into what it's like to be in practice?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in my day, Ben, when I started, Doc, it was you just hung a shingle. It was hard to find associateships, and we're going back to 1981 when I graduated, right? And so I just opened up an office. I started in Massachusetts, in Boston, and a little town called Lexington, about 10 miles outside of Boston, and just built a great practice. And it was really based on the four pillars that I was taught, called lasting purpose, which Dr. Sid Williams, the founder of Life College and where I went, but also the founder of Life West, right? And that we really, embed. In fact, it's on my lapel here, to give, to do, to love, and to serve, right? Out of our own abundance, and expecting nothing in return. And I really took that saying of lasting purpose and just etched it into my heart and etched it into my mind. And I just knew that if I just served people, if I was there to take care of them based on their needs and not my needs, right, that I would be successful, that I would have people coming to me, right? And so my creed within myself was to take care of everyone as if they're my grandma or my grandpa or my mom or my dad or, whoever, and if I just, every single person saw them like that, I could never go wrong, because I'd always give them my best, right? And that's what I did. And I just built a very big practice in Massachusetts. And I finally decided I didn't want to be in the snow after growing up in Michigan. And, so I just said, it was like, I was probably in practice 3 or 4 years. My associate wanted to buy my practice. I said, it's a perfect opportunity. I was single. I'm going to California. And I just flew out to LA, and I looked the coast down from LA to San Diego. I decided on San Diego. A buddy of mine that was in school had a couple practices up in Seattle. I invited him to join me, and he joined me, and we ended up opening a clinic up in San Diego. And I spent 32 years there, about 32 years. I've been here for 4 years, so 32 years. And then I met my wife, and she's, of course, she was a chiropractor, and, and we just kind of developed a practice that was, we're very blessed. And our philosophy in our practice was, we just wanted to teach people about health, teach people about wellness, move them from that paradigm of pathogenesis, right? The birth of disease, and move them into a salutogenic model, which was the creation or the birth of health, and let them know, that within them, they have a power to heal that's far greater than they were ever taught to believe. And, with that, we were able to educate people and let them know what, chiropractic is, and that within them, they have a healing power. There's an intelligence within them that resonates and works through their nervous system. We know that's the master control system of the body, and that we are born to be healthy. We're not born to be sick. So we just did a good job with it, I guess, or we did a job with that. And, some people we didn't, obviously, but, we just kept on track. We took care of, we used to say from the womb, to the tomb. We would, our oldest patient was 104 years old. And of course, we took care of babies when they were inside mommy's belly. And the blessings were really more about, when someone would walk in and, they'd bring, you'd walk in. I took care of you when you were a child, and you're bringing your child now. So we would literally see your mom, dad, your spouse, your children. We'd have 3 generations of families coming in, sometimes 4 when the grandparents came in, and it was beautiful. And I miss that. I have to tell you, I don't think you ever retire from chiropractic. My wife and I, this holiday season, we spent some time together. We have a home in Montana, and we're at our ranch up there. And we were just talking about what's going to happen, when I'm done with this project at the school, at the presidency at the school. And, I think we're going to end up opening a practice up someplace. We'll have doctors in there, and we can travel and be able to. I'll always be adjusting. I always want to take care of people, the rest of my life. The feeling. You just
absolutely.
What we do.
Yeah. Wherever you go, you bring your skills with you. And that's one of the best parts of being a chiropractor. You could practice anywhere in the world, as you just described, no matter what culture you're connecting with, Tonga, Cuba, Panama, you're in there just wanting to connect with somebody. And like you said, release that which is holding them back from expressing their full potential. Can you speak to some of these new sciences that have emerged over time? You mentioned salutogenic healthcare, and that being the real model with which chiropractors deliver healthcare, epigenetics. I know that you have a lot of scientists on staff. Can you speak to some of the people that are on faculty, and just reflect on kind of where chiropractic's at these days in regards to the emergence of these new sciences, validating what chiropractic's been talking about for so long?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love what you said, Doc. It's like, it's funny when people discover something, they think when quote unquote, if it's true or not, Columbus discovered America. That's at least the tagline. What did he discover? It was already here. So when we do a discovery, we find that which is already there. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
I discovered a new planet. Was it new? It's been there probably longer than we've been here, but we finally found it, so to speak. And it's the same thing with healthcare, right? It's like, our bodies haven't changed. We've been the same. We've morphed and we've adapted. Our bodies have adapted over the centuries and over, to be able to deal with our environment, right? Mm-hmm. And salutogenesis is what our college, it's what we're based on. It's a model that a gentleman named Anatofsky developed, and he was more of a sociologist. And it basically, salut means health. Genesis is, the birth of or creation of, right? The first book of the Bible, Genesis, first chapter, whatever, or book. So it's the birth or the creation of health, right? And when you look at a model like that, instead of what we said before, pathogenesis, which is is disease, the creation of disease, we look at it from a model of that we're working with something that is intelligent, that is healthy, and that can work, but sometimes it gets lost adapting in its environment, right? Mm-hmm. And we talk about something in salutogenesis called coherence. And coherence is how we adapt to our environment or our stressors, right, on different levels. And when you take that into a health level, not just chiropractic, but a health level, right? It's like, what do I need to do to increase and support this system here that, is perfect? I mean, it's incredible. You get a sperm and an egg. We haven't changed the way people have been born for thousands of years, right? A sperm and an egg come together. I guess there's test tube babies now, which I get, but a sperm and an egg come together, right? And that 1 + 1 = 1. And then that one cell, diverts and into 2, and then it becomes 4, and then it becomes 8, 16, 32, and it just keeps doubling itself until the trillions of cells that we have right now. And we didn't tell that cell how to change. Mm-hmm. Right? We didn't tell that baby where to grow ears. It's funny, we all come out with ears pretty much in the same place, right? And our nose is in the same place, and our eyes in the same place. It's not. There's no luck to it, so to speak, if we could use that word loosely. There is a process, and there's an intelligent process. And when we tap into that process and we understand that, but you see that same process on how the body heals, right? Our body regenerates itself continually. Right now, I'm sloughing off dead skin cells. The other skin cells, then are they coming from the outside in or the inside out? We know they come from the inside out, right? And so as they grow and they come from the inside out, we know that our body heals from the inside out. And so when we start, taking these very simple things, I'm simplifying it, but you start looking at the body and how the body works, it's about getting back to those natural laws and working with those laws. And at the college here, we've got people that 40 years he's been here, or maybe 36 years, Dan Murphy. You had Dr. Murphy, and in fact, we should get him on this podcast. And if you want to, I'll be happy to have a phone call with him to do that, because, he'd be wonderful to speak to pre-chiro students. Here's a guy who's just he's just a genius. He lectures. I don't know how he does it, but he lectures 53 weekends a year. I don't know how he does it, but he makes, I could do 52. He does 53. He's all over the world just delivering the story about how the body heals, what the body does. And, we have, as we have people, that on our campus that really understand that, when you talk about epigenetics, it's huge. We used to think that maybe you had, I don't know if you sat through Bruce Lipton's course when you were in school, but, Bruce Lipton is just a beautiful man who's a genius. And for our pre-chiro students, please look him up on YouTube. It's Dr. Bruce Lipton, Lipton. He's not a chiropractor, but he's just a genius in the academic world, right? And he was teaching at Stanford and teaching at Berkeley, and then he came over to Life West, and he's now in New Zealand. He's traveling all over the place, but he lectures for us. He does licensure, does all kinds of things. And epigenetics are, we are not what our genes, everyone say, oh, genetically you're programmed for this. Well, we can change our genes. We can change our genes. This is science. This isn't like, we can change our genes. Our genes are dictated by our environment. They're not dictated by a set of pattern that's in there, and so you can literally change it. And Bruce does this whole course on it. That's really just incredible. And epigenetics is widely known now. At the college, just to kind of share with you what we're doing in our research department, we're doing all of our research is on biomarkers. The back pain and the neck pain and headaches, great stuff. It's all been done, but we want to show physiological change. So right now we're doing an HRV study, heart rate variability, which shows us how we're doing, how our nervous system is doing, right? And how we're adapting to our environment through heart rate variability, and what that means when you get adjusted, or what that means when your body is functioning at a higher level through chiropractic care. We're also doing a telomere study right now. Telomeres are if the students remember the double helix, right, of the DNA, and at the very bottom, there's these two strands that come down. Well, picture a ski beanie over each one of those bottoms they're the end caps, and those end caps are your telomeres. And your telomeres actually show your biological health, not your chronological health. I just turned 64 years old this year, but my biological health might be I'm 55, right? And that's what the telomeres show, right? And they can be affected, by your body. So we're doing testing on people. We have a lab in Europe. That's the top lab in the world doing these. They got millions of studies. We are going to be doing, people have been under chiropractic care. And how does that change the telomeres, and what does that show? And then we have a database of 1 million plus people that we can test them against, same age, same sex, whatever, all the same markers. They just, one had chiropractic care, one didn't. And does chiropractic add years to life, and life to years, right? We're going to be able to see this. We'll see what happens from the results of that testing. So that's another thing. And so those are the kind of things that we're doing. We want to be able to show that the body, we know the body is a self-healing, self-regulating organism. We just want to be able to show how chiropractic can allow the body to function and do what it does, at a much higher level than without it.
Yeah. Very exciting. Lots of great things happening. If I'm a prospective student, I'm listening to this conversation. I'm really opening my eyes to everything that Life West has to offer. Where do I begin? Who do I contact? What is some of the resources or opportunities available to a prospective student that Life West offers?
Yeah, there's a ton right now, and right now, because of COVID, we've really moved a lot of things online. We've got we have tons of programs for prospective students to jump on. They could be an hour, half-hour programs, things like that we're doing. Just if you go to lifewest.edu and then go to the admissions page, you'll be able to see all this stuff. And I think there's a go.lifewest.edu also that they can go to and be able to see what's going on. We have a discovery weekend that we do 4 times a year. Right now, we've been doing them virtual. They've been uber successful. It's just been phenomenal. We can pull people in from all over the world to talk to these prospective students, and having it live where you can only have people who are, on ground, so to speak. We're just doing a lot of really, really cool stuff. So our admissions department is, just ready and waiting. And all you have to do is just go to lifewest.edu, or possibly just go.lifewest.edu and be able to connect with us. And we will definitely, if you leave a message, we will definitely connect with you on whatever level, we need to.
Beautiful. Dr. Ron, appreciate you, man. The lights just went out.
I know. I'm going to turn them back on.
All right, cool. Yeah.
And I've got a plexiglass thing right here, so it kind of blocks it. But
Well, I appreciate your time, man. And I think that this has been a really transparent conversation of what's going on at Life West, how it's emerging to be a leader in chiropractic education in many ways, not just the philosophy, but also the research. And it's really exciting just to hear how you're expanding the reach that the college has around the world with opening new clinics that students can then go and practice in and gain real world experience in, because that's really where, for me, the consciousness transfers from you being on your way to becoming a chiropractor to you actually serving the people and getting some hands-on experience. That's where it's at. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you so much. And any students out there, we'll post some show notes with any information that was discussed here on how to get connected to the admissions department, how to get connected to Dr. Ron specifically if you're interested in asking him a specific question. And I want everybody out there to just keep doing your research, keep asking those questions, keep exploring what's available. This channel is really just going to expose you to a lot of what's going on in the profession. And we're just going to keep shining a light so that you can have a better experience, feel more supported as you're embarking on this path to become a chiropractor.
Yeah. And Ben, I just want to say thank you. You know, it's so important that we reach out to prospective students, right? Because chiropractic, as you know, is such a beautiful profession that, you know, I'd like to see everybody who has a heart to serve be a chiropractor. And so thank you for reaching that out. And thank you also for bringing up the diversity, you know, inclusion, equity, because, you know, that is a cornerstone of what we need to do in our profession and in our world. And we are doing that at the college on a big level. But so big shout out to you and the Pre-Chiro show for, you know, exposing and shining that light. We need more Dr. Ben Glass doing this so that it gets out more. So thank you, bud.
Most definitely. I'm here for that. Last bonus question. I know you got to go, but last bonus question. What would our communities look like if we had more chiropractors who are Black or Puerto Rican or from Latin America showing up with the skills of a chiropractor? What would that do to the communities around the world?
It would bring such a phenomenal, you know, amount of healthcare. I mean, we as a profession, you know, we at the college right now, we're pretty much, you know, the white students are a minority right now at the college, but where we're really lacking is, you know, in our Black students, and this is our profession, not just this is our profession, right? There are so many underserved communities, and, you know, people want to be served by people who are like them, who understand them. And we just need to develop a much bigger game and be able to bring in more diverse students. And there is a population out there that is literally just waiting for you, like waiting for you to serve them. And, you know, we want to, as you know, our reach is to create a brighter future for humanity. And humanity isn't just in Hayward. It's not just in Oakland where you are. It's not just in San Diego. You know, it's everywhere, right? And so chiropractic is just, it's geared to be able to serve so many people. And the utilization of chiropractic is on the rise. And, you know, and we just got to get into our minority, you know, areas and be able to really make a difference, you know, in a diverse, you know, diverse and inclusive way.
Yeah, we need that. Appreciate you, Dr. Ron. We'll talk later, man. Take care.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks.